What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Kevin Hoop Show. I know that we've got Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo coming up, but we're switching gears real quick. I know it's been up in the news the past week or 2 weeks. Nate Diaz versus the Logan Paul lookalike. I know we have Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul set for August, and I figured it's about time to talk about it. Now, for those of you that may have not heard, or for those of you that live under a fucking rock, Nate Diaz choked somebody unconscious about a week ago, and there was a warrant out for his arrest. There was this going on, there was that going on. He turned himself in, and basically that's where the story ends. Now, one thing I want to mention kind of beforehand, and just, want to put it out there for those of you that may have not thought about this sort of thing, whether you think it was self-defense or not, and for those of you that are just stupid, I think Nate Diaz was completely using self-defense in this situation.
Oh yeah! Dude, 12 up in there! Oh yeah, Logan!
So just looking at that, you can see Nate Diaz, he has his fist up, and then in my opinion, he, goes and tries to grapple the guy. The thing that I wanted to preface after you guys just saw that is sometimes some people see these celebrities or see these MMA fighters especially, and they're like, oh, this guy's famous. Oh, this guy's known for getting in bar fights or getting in fights in public. I'm gonna go and try and fight this guy and then get a lawsuit and become rich. Yeah, that's totally what's gonna happen. Number one, those people need to fall off the face of the fucking earth. If you have that sort of mentality, click off this video, unsubscribe. I don't care what the fuck you have to do to stop watching my content. I don't like it. I'm not trying to be mean here, but I'm just saying, if you have that sort of mentality of trying to sue somebody after you're trying to get into a fight with them, you need to fucking grow a set of balls and actually figure out what you're gonna do with the rest of your life. Because I guarantee you that sort of mentality isn't gonna get you very far, even if you do win a lawsuit against somebody like that. Now, I don't know if this fucking Logan Paul lookalike who actually, tried to get it into a public fight with Nathan Diaz, I don't know if that was his intention from the start. I don't know exactly what happened beforehand. Hell, I don't even know what city this happened in. All I did was see the video. I saw that there was a warrant out for his arrest, and then I saw that he turned himself in. Now, just looking at it from a third-person point of view, criminals and people who do ill-intent things don't usually go around turning themselves into the police after there's a warrant out for their arrest. Just again, looking at things like that, I really don't think Nate Diaz was trying to put on any harm to this Logan Paul lookalike. Now, one thing I think I already kind of started to mention, and if you go back and look at that video, you can see Nate Diaz has his fist up from the get-go. And then when he starts to actually go and attack this guy or de-escalate the situation, as I would call it, he puts his hands down, makes sure that he's not going to get hit by this Logan Paul lookalike, and then goes into a clinch sort of scenario where he puts his head down and gets a guillotine. I think, if anything, this was the best case scenario that would have happened out of anything else happening. Number one, this guy could have got physically hurt. He could have got punched in the face. He could have got his head slammed on the ground, which it may have looked like it at the end, but I really don't think it was that hard of a slam or anything. As well as, you just could have, who knows the endless possibilities that could have happened if these guys were to actually throw hands. Not to mention, Nate Diaz is an ex-UFC fighter, just recently retired, and has one of the biggest resumes of whooping people's ass and just being known as a bad motherfucker. Now, the reason that I'm kind of on Nate Diaz's side is because he put his hands down. He was the one who engaged in the clinch, and in my opinion, Nate Diaz had the whole entire thought process of, oh, this could end in a lawsuit / really bad situation, I'm going to make sure it ends in a pretty good and decent scenario. And, you know, in my opinion, I think the route of the guillotine, the route of the strangle choke of ending that fight was probably the best route happening, especially when you have 2 or 3 other guys running at you or running at your guys that are part of your crew. Now, whether this guy was looking for a lawsuit or not, I'm not too sure. I don't think he deserves a fucking penny from Nate Diaz. I do believe that the judge was ruling or leaning in the side of Nate Diaz. I'm not exactly sure what, you know, the legal process is. I doubt that this thing got, you know, handled right away. I do think that it is still getting handled right now when it comes to the law process. I'm sure that it is going to take some more time for it to actually get handled through the legal process, but you know, it's just a waste of Nate Diaz's time. That's really all this is, in my opinion. Whether this guy was looking for money or not, I just think, you know, dude, if you're hanging around this guy or if you're near this guy, you should probably know who he is and probably not fuck with him. And not to mention, if this guy was going out for that, what kind of world are we trying to live in? Why does Nate Diaz have to go out with full-fledged fucking security just in order to go get a fucking burger or to go out and have a nice night and enjoy himself? Like, why can't he be a regular sort of person and go out and have a nice night? Now, I can see the argument, all right, Nate Diaz, you know, kind of signed up to have this lifestyle, but I don't think he was necessarily hoping this, you know, he would constantly be getting fighters and guys to, you know, fight him for a fucking lawsuit. I think that that's fucking crazy, and for anybody to have to live like that, I fucking feel for him. You know, anyone that has to go around and worry about security because they're gonna get mobbed, you know, I do feel for him a little bit, but at the same time, I do know that, you know, some people like that signed up for it. But I don't think any of those people that wanted to be famous or have paparazzi following them was expecting people to come out of the woodwork and try and have a physical altercation with them, so then that person could then sue them for them starting the fight and then them losing money over it. Like, that's fucking insane. You are fucked up in the head in so many ways. You're probably not even comprehending what I'm saying right now if you are one of those people, but holy fuck. What are we doing right now? Like, do I really have to come over here and act like this is a podcast and talk about what kind of fucking world we're living in? Like, bitch, no. This dude's a UFC fighter. You should know. Do not fuck with him. It's like self-explanatory. This dude's fucking hands are basically registered as lethal weapons. Why would you want to go and try and fight him? Oh my God, just thinking about it gets me pissed off, guys. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And like, not to mention, Nate Diaz in the UFC, I kind of already said it, he's known as a bad motherfucker. He is known as not taking shit. He's known for throwing hands just about anywhere to throw hands. I mean, should we bring up the fucking famous water bottle getting thrown across the press conference with Conor McGregor just because Nate Diaz was a little bit pissed off at what Conor McGregor was saying? Like, come on now. Would you want to go and have a fist fight with someone willing to throw water bottles at a press conference? Hell no. Just ranting about that, I literally forgot the main reason Nate Diaz has, you know, kind of been in the news the last month and whatnot, because he's been in this fight with Jake Paul. Now, I said the Logan Paul lookalike. I know that was getting thrown around when this whole entire case fucking first broke. I know that people were saying, oh, Nate Diaz choked out Logan Paul. Get out of here with the fake news. We don't even deal with that shit over here on the Kevin Hoop Show. What we've got on our hands right now is Nate Diaz and Jake Paul. Now, if we're talking, you know, realistically what's going to happen in this fight, I'm honestly kind of torn between two sides. Obviously, I just talked about how much of a bad motherfucker Nate Diaz is, how much of a complete savage the guy is in general. Now, on the other side of things, we have Jake Paul. He just fought Tommy Fury, his first loss in his boxing record, and looked somewhat okay. You know, he went the distance with him. I think it was an 8-round or 12-round fight. Went the distance, though. The first time he's went the distance, I believe, at least in that long of a fight. And, you know, the one thing that I question, the one thing that makes me question this, and it's made me question every other fight that Jake Paul has had other than the Tommy Fury one. I'm sorry if I misspoke. I'm now trying to figure out if I said Tyson Fury or Tommy Fury first. I meant Tommy Fury, though, the younger brother that basically no one cares about. That one thing is, Jake Paul has fought multiple MMA fighters and come out on the other side, came out on the other side victorious. And I think that game plan has been working for him. And if this was to follow suit, then, Jake Paul's looking to have another victory on his record. But again, Nate Diaz isn't necessarily the ordinary guy, I guess you could say. He's number one, not an ordinary guy. And I wouldn't say he's an ordinary UFC fighter either. I think he brings a really different style. I think his gas tank is one of the best that we've ever seen. And I think that, his mentality is just, I don't give a fuck. So will Jake Paul be able to deal with that when it comes to this fight in August? I don't know. I think that there's a lot to kind of unfold with this when the next months kind of come out and see what's happening with Nate Diaz and Jake Paul. So whether, Nate Diaz is really taking this fight that seriously, how much training of strictly boxing has he been doing beforehand, and really where Jake Paul is, when it comes to his weight, when it comes to how much he's going to improve since the Tommy Fury fight, which was only about a month or two ago. So, I think that Jake Paul's a very calculated guy when it comes to this boxing scene, and I really do think that, he's kind of smart when it comes to who he picks. We shall see what happens next with these two. I'm sure we're going to see them in the news at some point leading up to this August fight. We still have about 3 months. This is the beginning of May when I'm recording this. So we've still got a whole 3 months with these two wild guys. So chances are we'll probably see them in the news again for something unrelated to these two fighting, but we shall see, guys. Let me know in the comments, though, who you guys think is going to win this fight. Also, let me know whether you guys are on Nate Diaz's side or not when it comes to self-defense. Again, roll the clip or something, go back and look at the clip. It's clearly self-defense, whether you're fucking against Nate Diaz or whether you're with Nate Diaz. We're definitely part of that Nate Diaz army over here. Let me know in the comments again. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And with that, have a great fucking day.